Mr. Speaker, the unpredictability of this global phenomena, I speak of this dreaded COVID-19 disease, has thrust governments into spheres where only the brave survive. Who would have known that our 2020 vision would have been clouded so early by a pandemic? That our world would forever change the way we live, our world would forever change the way we do business. Recognizing that events like these have caused great civilizations to fall, I rise to this occasion confident that our economy, our people, I rise confident that our country will be okay. We are safe in the hands of this government. Mr. Speaker, I rise to lend my unwavering support to this transformational budget here today. I am proud to be on this side of the Honorable House, for I know I am on the side of Dominica, Mr. Speaker. This is the side of service. This is the side of care. This is the side of commitment. This is the side of sacrifice. This is the side of love. I am on the side with experience and effective leadership, Mr. Speaker, to traverse through tough times. I am proud to be on the side where my leader can say with sincerity that the interest of our people must be at the center of every measure that we take. This is what we live by. Mr. Speaker, I cannot help but recall, prior to my appointment as senator and minister in this Labour government, how I listened attentively to previous budget addresses, thinking how timely and appropriate they all were. Oh, how my respect for visionary Prime Minister and member for the Vacas constituency increased with every budget, as he always had the appropriate responses to existing challenges and circumstances on the ground. Mr. Speaker, I say to you and to the citizens of Dominica that the fiscal year 2020-2021 statement was indeed well crafted, certainly appropriate and quite timely. This is a budget that was born out of permutations and iterations pegged to the principles of resource management, growth, safeguards, and resilience to advance our economic and human development. You won't understand it. You won't understand what I'm saying. It is a budget for the common man and women. I'm talking about you, not him. You, yes. Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Prime Minister and Minister for Finance clearly articulated how the COVID-19 pandemic has affected not only governments, but the way of life of our people. We know how scores of you were affected. We met many of you over the past few months. We know how the tourist industry was shaken to its core. We know that non-essential services were severely affected. We know that small businesses, particularly barbershops, bars, the self-employed, vendors, bus drivers, you name it, they all were affected. And that loss of income directly translated into an inability to meet obligations like loans, mortgages, rent, and in some cases to put food on the table. And that is why this government came to your assistance. The Prime Minister, in his May 17, 2020 address, presented our COVID-19 response and articulated a comprehensive strategy to mitigate the risk associated with a pandemic and to manage the burdens of a nation. Mr. Speaker, this caring government announced the following: funding for income support for people who lost their jobs. Mr. Speaker, this facility exceeded $15 million, qualifying hoteliers, farmers, and manufacturers who had already benefited from a special loan facility at Aid Bank were granted a moratorium on interest and principal. Through the same Aid Bank, government made funds available for the self-employed, micro and small businesses to obtain up to $15,000 at 1% interest for bridge financing. Mr. Speaker, you know very well that in the world of business, 1% interest is tantamount to a gift. Mr. Speaker, the deadline to file personal and corporate taxes were extended in spite of the need for revenue to fund high expenditures. Mr. Speaker, this government is clear about the task at hand, and we are clear on our strategy to bring prosperity to this country, even in difficult moments. It is against this backdrop, Mr. Speaker, and our first-hand knowledge of our reality that we have crafted a budget for you. So while countries are grappling for their survival, we are merely adapting to create opportunities for our people. This government is not frustrated. This government is not flustered by the limitations of challenges. We are not chained by the tensions of uncertainty, but we are freed by innovation, aptitude, and willingness. And we are steered by leadership that stands robust and second to none, Mr. Speaker. We are committed to you, fellow compatriots. Together, we will be fine. We will be fine because we made a choice on December 6, 2019, that we will allow a government of good judgment to manage the affairs of our state, Mr. Speaker. Imagine if the result were the other way. Imagine if the result were the other way, Mr. Speaker. This period, Mr. Speaker, if the result were the other way, would have been like the Titanic on its maiden voyage, a sinking ship, a train wreck. Mr. Speaker, our fortunes would have spiraled into uncertainty. Mr. Speaker, the members on the other side have taken opposition to new levels, Mr. Speaker. They have taken opposition to such levels that they can't agree to anything. They can't agree to common sense, Mr. Speaker. Listen to this. Did you hear the semblance of a rebuttal this morning, Mr. Speaker?
Senator, just one second. The member for Roseau North, I'm going to point out to you a standing order. That standing order 53. If a member shows disregard for authority of the chair, abuses the rules of the House by persistently and willfully obstructing the business of the House, or otherwise, the Speaker or the Chairman shall direct the attention of the members to the incident, mentioning by name the member concerned. Whenever a member has been so named by the Speaker or by the Chairman, and it goes on to say what action can be taken. I'm asking you and I'm cautioning you to cease from distracting members when they are delivering. There are members on both sides. There are members on both sides who are new to the House, especially the youth. People like Senator Laville, people like Senator Sanford, we want them to learn in the right way. He's delivering and you are distracting. Consistently, persistently. Continue, Senator. Continue, Senator. I won't. Member again. Okay. So So, Senator Laville, continue.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it seems you may have to repeat, Mr. Speaker. This reminds me of my days in high school. Back in pubescent wisdom, Mr. Speaker. It seems that's the environment I'm in right now. Thank you. Did you hear the semblance of a rebuttal, Mr. Speaker? Mr. Speaker, it took almost 2 hours to say absolutely nothing. A complete, dismal disconnection and waste of words. The crafters of that response must have been disappointed that it's only in the conclusion, the last 5 minutes, that was the attempt to get into substance. So while the leader of the opposition was giving marks for implementation, that's for various ministries, Mr. Speaker, I submit that in this honorable house, the only mark that should be given today is this. An F, Mr. Speaker, for his attempted contribution this morning. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, it is clear that the opposition was waiting for this government to turn its back on its people. They were hoping that this budget statement would be rife with new taxes to burden the people, just for them to score runs in this house. Instead, we heard a budget filled with indicatives to help foster economic resilience as we build a dynamic Dominica. So I stand in my capacity as Minister for Public Works and the Digital Economy to support the policies, programs, and plans articulated by the Honorable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, it is no secret that Dominica is beautiful, with majestic mountains, flowing clear rivers that sculpt our landscape into an ecotourist dream. But these natural attributes, which make us unique, also showcase our vulnerabilities to natural disasters. And today, we have vivid memories of this, Mr. Speaker. Memories of devastating impact of heavy rains on our numerous rivers and streams. Those swollen waterways have flooded and overwhelmed low-lying communities and also caused significant damage to our road network and bridges. We recognize this challenge, and so we have included these experiences into our planning and design of our physical infrastructure as we are committed to build back better. Mr. Speaker, I will first speak of this aspect of my portfolio, the projects in 2019-2020. In looking back at the last fiscal year, I'm truly amazed at my ministry's output, even with the challenge and the interruptions from COVID-19. Mr. Speaker, this small elite team called Technical Services was able to implement and deliver nearly 3 major capital projects per month last fiscal year. In terms of value, that is about $16 million per month. Were it not for this pandemic, we might have been talking about 6 major projects per month and $32 million per month instead. Mr. Speaker, here are some of the deliverables. The West Coast Road Project. These were interventions from Tropical Storm Erica. It included the rehabilitation of damaged areas along the 45-kilometer EO-Libla highway, to include reconstructions of 3 new bridges, namely Marcushri, Batali, and Point Round. This also included the rehabilitation of 13 culvert crossings, rehabilitation of several road edge failures, subgrade and pavement failures, and included the installation of numerous safety features. West Coast interventions. These were interventions that were initiated after the devastation from Hurricane Maria. This included the construction of 5 box culvert crossings, 2 retaining walls, and surface drainage. Checkwell Valley Road, rehabilitation of 700 meters of road, including drainage and pavement in the Checkwell Valley area. Cochrane Road rehabilitation, phases 1 and 2, amounting to over $23 million. We can all see for ourselves. The Cochrane people are now fortunate to drive on what I consider to be a modern highway. Tatan Road, this comprised of the widening of approximately 1 kilometer of road from Purple Turtle Junction to the Bell Hall Bridge. Layu West, this was the construction of a 170-meter river wall with sheet piling and the restoration of the road from the Layu Bridge going west towards the village, the Layu Emergency Shelter. I will allow the Member of Parliament for the constituency to speak further to that, as she was very much involved in this project. The protection of Kashibona. This included the construction of a 150-meter river defense to increase resilience at the Douglas Charles International Airport. And I say international because the excitement is in the air. We all heard the announcement by the Prime Minister yesterday, hence the reason why my thinking is on International Airport today, Mr. Speaker. We are all excited about that. The Rosa River walls and promenade. I will also allow the Member of Parliament for Rosa to speak to that project, but we can all see that remarkable transformation in the Rosa area. The Kalibishi wall, construction of a 135-meter sea defense wall. Coptol Phase 1, construction of a 700-meter rigid pavement, drains and sidewalks in that area. Repairs to numerous bridges, including the Dominica China Friendship Bridge, rehabilitation of EC Low Block Bridge, repairs to Bath State Bridge, repairs to the West Bridge, and the list goes on. We had numerous interventions where we effected road rehabilitation, paving, rigid pavement, and asphaltic pavement throughout the island. Now, Mr. Speaker, it is clear that my staff worked hard last year, so they need to be rewarded. My gift to them will be more training opportunities, peer review, improvement of the working environment to include better design and project management software. After this investment, I will then expect an even further increase in the output for the next fiscal year. In the new fiscal year, we'll implement a number of high-value projects, most of which are new, but we will seek to close all the ongoing projects. These include retaining walls in Paybush, Dodan Bridge, One Prosper Road, Coptol Phase 2, Bagatelle Bridge, Hampstead Bridge rehabilitation, among others. Mr. Speaker, now for the new projects. Aren't we all eager about the Roseau Enhancement Project? This will completely reshape our city, starting with the Botanic Gardens bypass, the 140-meter revetment wall, and Great George Street transformations. These are just in the first phase, Mr. Speaker. But while the member for Roseau will speak more to that, I cannot help but recall my reading to reference a familiarity. Mr. Speaker, back in the day, I'm talking way back in the day, a long time ago, before Christ. There was once an Athenian general called Pericles. Mr. Speaker, with his growing surplus, he commissioned temples, halls, theaters, streets, and he put all his craftsmen to work. Mr. Speaker, this transformed Athens completely and helped them to step into the golden age. Today, I am hearing a prime minister talking about transforming Roseau because the city is the hub of a country's economic and social life. Do you hear the parallels, Mr. Speaker? Mr. Speaker, if Athens could be transformed in 478 before Christ, I have no doubt that Roseau will continue to be transformed in 2020, and by the grace of God, we will march proudly into the golden age of our prosperity. Rehabilitation of Laville Bridge. The E.O. Highway is the primary route serving villages from Roseau to the northern villages, Mr. Speaker. The Hillsborough Bridges are two single-lane bridges providing access along the Laville River. The Eastern Bridge was damaged in 2017 by flooding events from Hurricane Maria. Since then, the western section has been used to accommodate traffic in both directions. This is a major cause of conflict and affects serviceability. Due to inherent vulnerabilities, Mr. Speaker, associated with this aged infrastructure, compounded with the increased occurrence and magnitude of flooding events, the ministry is of the view that the damaged structure should be repaired to provide redundancy and restore normalcy in that area. The primary interventions will include reconstruction of the center pier and southern abutment, as well as replacement of the bridge deck. Cannabis. I meant to say Cabanis, but there was also good news about, you know what? Yes. Cabanis retaining walls. The Cabanis area has been compromised for a number of years and poses a risk to road users. The alternative route through Wharton Waven is also compromised, hence the need for interventions. The interventions at Cabanis is very critical as it would significantly improve on our road safety in that general area. The interventions address major road edge failures and collapses. The scope involves the construction of retaining walls, drainage structures, and restoration of the road in this area. Bell's retaining wall. Bell serves as the main route from the Douglas Charles International Airport to the West Coast and to the city, Mr. Speaker. It is one of the most important roads in our road network, hence the need to ensure serviceability. The area was compromised during the passage of Tropical Storm Erica. The scope involves the construction of retaining walls, drainage structures, and road restoration. Warner interventions. Warner is one of 3 routes to provide access from Port Cassé to the West Coast. All the routes are vulnerable to some extent due to storm damage or instability. Based on technical advice, Warner provides the cost-effective alternative for immediate restoration. This investment will address major road edge failures and collapses. The scope involves the construction of retaining walls, drainage structures, restoration of road sections. Guardrails and road safety measures. Mr. Speaker, my conscience does not permit me to go to sleep if I have not done my very best. With that being said, I recognize that there are too many accidents on our streets, too many deaths, too many injuries. We must do better as road users and endure an attitude of responsibility, not only for ourselves, but for others. Government must also do the same, Mr. Speaker. So it is for this reason that we have allocated $750,000 towards road safety, Mr. Speaker. North Coast Road Project in the budget. I believe it's called Marigot to Portsmouth Road Feasibility Study. Mr. Speaker, another major project on the cards is the North Coast Road project. This first phase includes feasibility studies and preliminary designs, and this shall commence soon. The contract has been signed. The first phase will inform the construction of 36.1 kilometers of roadway from Hatton Garden to Borough Square in Portsmouth, and shall include the linkages to incorporate the new international airport. CDB UKSIF Lubia to Bagatelle Road project. Mr. Speaker, in addition to these major projects, we also have the Lubia to Bagatelle Road project, a £25 million grant for the rehabilitation of 20 kilometers of roadway. At the time the project was conceptualized, the amount might have been sufficient. However, the catastrophic damage from Hurricane Maria necessitated new considerations, thereby nearly quadrupling the cost. The scope and designs are being reconsidered in view of introducing increased value engineering to allow for commencement of the rehabilitation during the new fiscal year. World Bank funded Disaster Vulnerability Project, DVRP. Mr. Speaker, while the Minister for the Environment will speak further to that, I cannot help but mention a contribution of $126 million to our economy, Mr. Speaker. Quite substantial investment in our road network in the East, Mr. Speaker. And we will support the ministry in every way with our surveyors, our engineers, our technical team to ensure the completion of this road project with the necessary resilience that's required. Road rehabilitation works at Maho. Mr. Speaker, this is another critical area for consideration. This road section between L&O Guest House in Lower Belfast and the Credit Union in Centre Maho. This is a bottleneck among a few others on the EO-Libla Highway. We are therefore reserving an amount of $750,000 in the first instance to reconfigure drains, curbs, walls, roads, and sidewalks to improve access in this area. As a Maho man, I am grateful for this consideration of this project as a model. Mr. Speaker, while we have numerous other major projects, permit me to speak to this honorable House and the citizens about routine road maintenance. These activities are a major component of my ministry's portfolio, Mr. Speaker. As we have done in the past few months, we will also continue to do and move more aggressively to address road safety concerns and driving conditions into the new fiscal year. We know of the challenges around the island, in Delis, Buetica, Roseau South, to name a few. These PAL reps have been knocking on our doors, and we assure you the door is open. We will address your concerns. On behalf of my ministry and this government, I wish to thank all road users, Mr. Speaker, for their patience as we build a resilient physical infrastructure and a resilient country. It cannot happen overnight, Mr. Speaker. If it does, it is not likely to be resilient. Many villagers, youth, and elders are our eyes on the ground. They know the streets better than we do, Mr. Speaker. Please continue to call us with your concerns. Write us, come into the ministry, come to see us. Speak to your PAL reps. Believe me, Mr. Speaker, I have a file for each and every one of them. Mr. Speaker, midway through the financial year 2019-2020, the portfolio of digital economy was added to the Ministry of Public Works, giving birth to the Ministry of Public Works and the Digital Economy. Government is ever minded of the critical importance of physical infrastructure.
30 minutes, huh? 30 more minutes.
30.
Yeah.
30. Okay, great. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Government is ever minded of the critical importance of physical infrastructure to the country's economic growth and its capacity to attract private investment, and to the well-being and quality of life of residents and visitors, Mr. Speaker. The country's water resources remain as one of the most valuable assets, and significant investment is being made in order to meet the targets of 100% available potable water supply on island. In addition, government sees the digital economy as a major pillar for economic growth, recognizing how technology stimulates growth. It is against this backdrop that the Ministry of Public Works and the Digital Economy has focused on key interventions that would lend to the creation of jobs for the next fiscal year, Mr. Speaker, that will contribute towards substantial growth while building resilience of our physical and digital infrastructure. With the emergence of the COVID-19 pandemic, implementation of the ministry's work program was affected as activities slowed, as the island responded to this dreaded virus. This pandemic has also influenced the ministry's plans and programs for the fiscal year 2020-2021, as focus will be placed on high-impact projects as we seek to stimulate the economy. Operating under this new normal has brought more significance to the digital economy portfolio, as most transactions, meetings, conferences are now being done using digital platforms. Mr. Speaker, for the first time in our country's history, the government created a ministerial portfolio called the digital economy. It was at a time when most of us had no idea as to what that even meant, Mr. Speaker. We are pioneers, but this is exactly the visionary thinking and leadership needed for Dominica today. Who else would have envisioned that timing? The significance of the role of technology, Mr. Speaker? Who else? Mr. Speaker, the ICT unit played an integral role in the development of the digital economy, as it is mandated to provide e-government services. Achievements for fiscal year 2019-2020 include the following: redesigning the government's web portal and the intranet, development of an online curfew system for the police force, development of a weather and notification application for the Office of Disaster Management, development of a labor management system for the Division of Labor, development of human resource software for the Dominica Prison Services, development of a Ministry of Education, Financial and Scholarship Management system. Mr. Speaker, government successfully implemented a work-from-home program which allowed for the continuation of a number of activities as the implementation of e-government has already started. For example, many were able to file their personal income tax returns online with support from staff of the Inland Revenue Department operating from their homes, Mr. Speaker. Additionally, over the past few months, the government's website has served as the main source of information on a number of programs being implemented. In the new fiscal year, the plan is to continue to revamp and enhance e-government to bring about improvements in government interface and overall service delivery. Currently, passport forms are available online. However, the customer interface and experience will go further by allowing the submission and acceptance of completed forms online. We are in the final stages of the e-payment system rollout, Mr. Speaker. Before the end of this year, our citizens will be able to pay online for numerous services offered by the government of Dominica. This is significant, Mr. Speaker. The ministry plans to roll out Dominode in this financial year. Dominode is for anyone who needs geographic information on Dominica, Mr. Speaker. For example, it would benefit schools and students as a way to learn about the country. Professionals and government departments could use this tool for analysis, for sharing documents and geographic data. If an agency was looking for a map of Dominica, which pinpoints all the schools in Dominica, for example, this can be found on Dominode. In a nutshell, it's a platform that provides for the publication and management of geospatial data in a consistent and easy-to-use interface and environment. Among our plans shall be the creation of surf stations at government buildings to facilitate the completion of online forms for any ministry within government, Mr. Speaker. This will limit the time it takes to do business with government, including the wait time to see public officers. We will continue our drive to reduce the use of paper by 90% within the public sector. This certainly won't happen overnight, but we will get there, Mr. Speaker. That's why we have started the work to create a comprehensive public service-wide documentation management system, Mr. Speaker. The Digicel project. Mr. Speaker, in 2019, the government of the Commonwealth of Dominica entered into a standalone service agreement with Digicel Dominica to build a robust, redundant, and resilient digital infrastructure that's required to create the enabling environment for the provision of digital services as part of the transformation of Dominica into a digitally advanced society. Components of the project includes a core network which include 19 carrier-grade VSAT satellite connections, public Wi-Fi, and over 16 selected sites, safe city CCTV surveillance, connected health, and e-learning hub. So effectively, in Dominica, we are ahead of the game, Mr. Speaker, with our built-for-purpose fiber optic network, which connects government sites around the island. To oversee the implementation of this project, Mr. Speaker, government engaged a coordinator for the implementation. Significant progress was recorded for the period under review, as Digicel has implemented 90% of the services as per agreement and is currently wrapping up site preparatory works. We are well on our way to this digital transformation, Mr. Speaker. This is not talk. We have made serious strides. We have made strides in establishing the network, the platform for this transformation. To advance the digital transformation, government then secured a loan of $75.6 million from the World Bank in June of 2020. This will finance critical projects over a period of 5 years. Broadly speaking, Mr. Speaker, the objective of this project is to develop the core foundations to enable digitization of government and improve access and adoption of digital services, skills, and technologies among individuals and businesses. This will provide funding for the continued implementation of e-government, as well as to advance work on payment systems. This project will also be heavily focused on entrepreneurship and job creation. Mr. Speaker, this is what we have been waiting for. These are the foundation blocks of our dynamic Dominica, Mr. Speaker. Our Dominica version 2.0. I am truly excited, and so should you, Mr. Speaker. And yes, Senator John Finn, I heard your contributions, and in our aid memoir, we have considered quite a few of these contributions for the digital economy. So all our students shall benefit from digital devices for their education, as well as the teachers. I must note, however, that it's something that this government has done before. So I hope that this is embraced by all and not ridiculed. Cabinet recently approved the request to form the Project Implementation Unit, Mr. Speaker. We are finalizing the terms of reference for a number of highly skilled project management, procurement, change management, and IT-related jobs. In the new fiscal year, we'll also establish a digital economy unit. The proposed unit's main functions are to create a roadmap for the digital economy through the development of relevant policies, strategies, and legislations, to facilitate coordination between the public sector, private sector, friendly governments, and international organizations to foster investment and related digital transformation, to function as a clearinghouse for initiatives and programs consistent with government's vision for the digital economy, to ensure that the implementation of the digital standalone agreement meets government's expectations and all digital services are utilized, to ensure that the interventions under the digital transformation project are sustained through an aggressive post-project sustainable plan, and to initiate activities and programs that will lend to creation of jobs in this sector. We are targeting our people for this unit, Mr. Speaker. We want some young, visionary, pioneering, free-thinking Dominicans at the helm of this unit. We want to chart our course, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, apart from the direct hires that will result from these units, we also expect a wide demographic to benefit. I'm talking about small businesses, innovators, entrepreneurs, producers, farmers, fisher folks, students, teachers, the traveler, everyone, Mr. Speaker. Have you heard of the Internet of Things, Mr. Speaker? Technology is available for everything. On the consumer front, we expect all to benefit, Mr. Speaker, from improved service delivery, not only in government, but in the private sector also. We expect greater reliability, lower transactional costs, all these in a stable and secure environment. Mr. Speaker, I am pleased for the opportunities that will be presented for young people. This is your moment. Own it. And my ministry will walk with you. We will walk hand in hand with you to support you as you take your businesses online, as you benefit from the 6 billion consumers that are available worldwide. We will break the chains that exist in transacting business online. We are there for you. We will help you. We'll help you to thrive and to get the fair reward that you deserve for your sacrifice and your innovation. We need you more than ever. Starting next month, Mr. Speaker, I'm pleased to say by our hard work with Israel Aid and UNDP, we'll already start training at least 60 young professionals ages 25 through 40, where they will get the benefits of learning opportunities to be able to access freelance platforms and the gig economy. Mr. Speaker, recognizing that this budget is for everyone, we have some other business to discuss. Not so exciting as digital economy, but very important, I must add. The Electrical Division is charged under the Electricity Supply Act, number 21 of 1996, to inspect and certify all electrical installations before they are connected to the national grid. This certification is done in accordance with IEE regulations. For fiscal year 2019-2020, Mr. Speaker, the division conducted 4,200 inspections and issued 3,577 certificates for electrical installations. They will continue with even greater efficiency over the next fiscal year. Mr. Speaker, you may recall how dark things were after Hurricane Maria. Our lights were literally turned off. We were back in the dark ages with our bullseyes, Mr. Speaker. You remember that, Darrell? I remember meeting people in Mao and they would ask, did you receive light? Are you reconnected yet? But how are you not reconnected? And I see the linesmen. Mr. Speaker, I was fortunate that it was only in December of 2017 that I got connected, whilst I know for many others it took much longer. And our streets became very dark even after people's homes were reconnected. But the government embarked on an ambitious mission to provide more lighting on our streets than even before Maria. Now, Mr. Speaker, our business at night is even brighter. Our team remains committed to the cause of safety in the new fiscal year. So we will continue with our program to provide better, more resilient, more robust lighting powered by renewable energy. So $600,000 is allocated in the new fiscal year to that end, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I have been blessed to inherit a culture of hard work in my ministry. This is a ministry that was most recently led by two stalwarts in the name of Miriam Blanchard and Honorable and Dr. Colin McIntyre. On the technical front, we have what we consider, as I said, an elite group of technical consultants. They are the gatekeepers of our infrastructure, Mr. Speaker. They ensure the safety and security of our people. I salute them. I also salute the Electrical Services Division, our road surveyors, Building Maintenance Department, and our administrative staff. I wish to place on record my gratitude to the FS, formerly my PS, Ms. Edwards, and also PS Roland Royer, who have been extremely diligent and faithful to the task at hand. These good people are not credited enough for their devotion to public service, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to salute all the contractors who have worked with us, who have maintained our roads, cleared the drains, built the culverts, the bridges, cleared the waterways. They work in the hot sun to build our infrastructure. There is no Ministry of Works without you. It is through your collective efforts that over the last financial year, we were able to achieve so much. I welcome the ICT unit to our team, to our family, Mr. Speaker. This team that I've had the pleasure to lead came with an inherent array of skills that were tested during this COVID-19 period. Over the last 6 to 7 months, we were all forced to conduct the business online, and this very small unit was able to effectively command our digital migration. I wish to thank the Honorable Prime Minister for entrusting me with the honor to serve my country in this office. No honor is greater than that of service. I would like to thank my colleagues with which I serve. You embody representation with your character and good spirit. Working with you reassures me that we can and we will secure a better Dominica. I want to thank the entire public service for their hard work. The frontline workers, I salute you. I wish to thank the good people who pray for me and support me, my family, friends, the good people from Mao, where I was raised, the neighboring villages, and even those I have not met. I embrace your love. I am covered with your prayers. I am guided by God's grace. And in the same spirit that I rise, so too I shall descend to continue to serve the good people of Dominica. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.